It's our chance. Just tell.
The movie begins in December 1941, during the Nazi invasion of the Soviet Union. We see a German military truck stop at a snowy, desolate location. Soldiers climb out of the vehicle, dragging with them a captured Russian couple. The man has a sack over his head, and when it's removed, he's revealed to be dressed like Hitler. This enrages the Nazis, but the man quickly explains that they are just actors performing in a theater. The soldiers scoff, but then demand that they perform an act. The wife hesitates, fearing they'll be killed no matter what, but the husband, determined, agrees to try. He puts on a frantic, over-the-top act, pretending to be Hitler, even mimicking his mannerisms. But the Germans aren't impressed. The soldiers raise their rifles, and it seems like the couple's fate is sealed. But suddenly, gunfire erupts from nowhere. One by one, the German soldiers collapse into the snow. A mysterious sniper has taken them all down. As the smoke clears, we see him. This is the Red Ghost, the infamous Nazi hunter who's said to have killed thousands of German soldiers. He's a living nightmare for the Nazis, a ghost they cannot catch. The Red Ghost coldly surveys the scene, then begins ripping badges off the fallen soldiers' uniforms. He rummages through their supplies, stealing food. He shares some with the woman. The couple, trembling, thank him and ask for his name, but he says nothing, just turns and disappears into the white, swirling snow. In the next scene, we see a group of Soviet soldiers. They've been separated from their unit and are struggling to find their way back through the merciless snowstorm. Their leader, Dead, guides the group, which includes Politruk, Kostya, Moryakyak, and Vera, a brave, compassionate nurse. They're also carrying Kolya, a wounded comrade, on a stretcher. As they trudge forward, Dead and Kostya spot something. A young boy, frozen and barely alive. The boy introduces himself as Simpleton, claiming to be a Soviet soldier. Suspicious, Kostya checks his coat for weapons or anything incriminating but finds nothing. Still, his instincts keep him wary. Despite the doubt hanging in the air, Dead decides to take Simpleton with them. The journey grows more perilous with each step. The cold becomes unbearable, and they pass the corpses of frozen soldiers. Finally, they find the ruins of a building and decide to spend the night there, huddling around a flickering bonfire. For a brief moment, there's some warmth, both from the fire and from Kolya, who begins cracking jokes to lighten the mood. His humor sparks faint smiles among the group, but the levity doesn't last long. Moments later, Kolya succumbs to his injuries, his head falling to the side, lifeless. Vera's sobs break through the stillness as she cradles his hand. It's clear now, Kolya was more than just a comrade to her. Following morning, several Nazis arrive at the site where the Red Ghost had mercilessly wiped out their men. As they clean up the carnage, their voices are low but fearful. 61 Germans killed in just 2 months? Hearing this, the chief commander slams his fist down and barks an order. Captain Bruno, Klein, find this man immediately. Meanwhile, the Soviets press on through the relentless snow, their faces weary but determined. Soon, they come across a small abandoned cottage. Looks like it's empty. Moryashiok whispers cautiously as he steps forward. He checks the place and waves the others over. Inside, the scene is surreal. A table, neatly set with drinks and snacks, waiting like a macabre invitation. But just as his fingers graze it, Kostya appears out of nowhere and yells, "Stop! What are you doing?" This ensues an argument between the two, as Moryakyak is adamant about drinking the vodka, but the leader, Dead, firmly reveals, "It's a German trap! Poisoned food!" The rest of the group soon follows, and shockingly, we see that Vera is pregnant. Dead and Politruk explore the house and discover the inhabitants, who have been eliminated in the barn. They then cover the bodies with a blanket found nearby. In another scene, Bruno's team is seen driving through the snow. Klein tells them where the Red Ghost is operating, but Bruno interrupts, sneering, "Do you like the sauna?" hinting that he's more interested in the sauna than the Red Ghost. Hearing this, Klein mentions an abandoned village nearby with a great working bathhouse. He also assures Bruno the sector is clear, no enemies present. Back in the house, Dead decides, "We must go to the nearby village for food and matches." Vera, feeling unwell, stays behind with Moryakyak as her guard. However, as soon as the others depart, the Germans arrive at the same house. When Vera sees them, she quickly hides beneath a large chest. Klein shows Bruno the poisoned food on the table, boasting, "This is my work. It's killed many Russians." Meanwhile, Moryakyak catches up with his friends, who haven't traveled too far. He blurts out, "The Germans have arrived at the farm. Vera's in danger." Politruk punches him in the face and scolds him for leaving her alone. Moryakyak defends himself, stammering, "I went outside to urinate." The group is now forced to devise a plan to save Vera. They stand back with their rifles, silently watching the Germans in case they leave. Back at the house, the soldiers prepare a bathhouse for Bruno. They start playing with a pig, laughing and joking. But Bruno storms in. He shoots the animal dead, barking, "Stop playing with your food! Be more serious!" Meanwhile, Vera, holding her breath, continues to observe them silently from her hiding position. On the other side, Simpleton, his voice full of concern and confusion, speaks to Dead. "What's wrong with Kostya's eye? What happened to him, Dead?" Dead sighs deeply, his voice tinged with regret as he begins to tell the story. "A long time ago, Kostya stole an apple from my garden. I fired a shot into the sky to scare him, but he slipped, and a branch impaled his eye. I still feel guilty, should have never fired that shot." On the other hand, Klein warns Bruno not to go to the bathhouse because the red ghost is nearby. This enrages the captain, and he starts chastising his subordinate. Meanwhile, another soldier named Gunther hears Vera's movements under the chest. He then opens the chest and is shocked to discover her inside. He tries to protect her and leave quietly, but Bruno notices something strange and asks him what happened. In the end, Gunther is forced to admit that someone is hiding in the chest. Bruno's voice grows cold and commanding as he begins to interrogate Vera through Gunther. Nervous and shaking, responds with a quiet, vulnerable voice. "I am 8 months pregnant. This house is mine. Please, don't hurt me." But Klein, ever observant, notices the absence of her photo on the wall, suspicion creeping into his voice. "What's your real story?" Vera falters, then changes her story. "I fled from a neighboring village. I sought refuge here." But Klein isn't convinced. He spots the military uniform and ID, and his suspicion turns to anger. She begins to panic and pleads with them not to hurt her. But to no avail. Klein begins to beat her up, causing Gunther to run outside and vomit. Sometime later, Klein throws the bloody and barefoot Vera out of the house. The Soviet soldiers who were observing the house from a distance are horrified. Dead, grim and resigned, states, "She can't be saved. We have to leave." But Simpleton suddenly crawls toward the perimeter trench, his actions frantic. Moryakiak, ever loyal, follows him. Together, the two eliminate the 3 German guards with ease. Meanwhile, Klein decides to hang Vera, but one of the older soldiers objects. She's pregnant. Klein pauses, considering, before finally nodding in agreement. "Fine, I'll shoot her instead." Vera, her voice now full of defiance, curses Adam and screams, "God will punish you for this. You can't escape." As Gunther translates her words, Klein hesitates. He hands the gun to Gunther, his voice cold and commanding. "You have 2 minutes to execute the woman." But before Gunther can react, a shot rings out, and the soldier collapses. The red ghost has arrived. His presence is like a shadow, swift and deadly, as he throws several grenades at the house. The explosions shake the ground, and in the chaos, Vera seizes the opportunity to escape. The Soviet soldiers spring into action, launching their counterattack with fierce determination. The red ghost fights alongside them, and together they manage to eliminate the majority of the Nazis. Meanwhile, Bruno, who was in the bathroom, runs naked into the barn seeking refuge. The red ghost soon arrives at the bathhouse, where Klein throws boiling water on him. Klein then tries running away, but he trips and hits his forehead on a log, knocking him out. He wakes up shortly after, but pretends to be dead, hoping to escape notice. The red ghost too is struggling. The burns on his body are severe, and he loses consciousness. The Soviets, now victorious, breathe a sigh of relief, but their work is far from over. They drag the unconscious red ghost inside and set him down. Around the table, they begin to eat the food left by the Germans, just as they start to discuss their next move when suddenly Vera starts having contractions. Fortunately, Dead has some experience in delivering babies, so he and Simpleton help her with the process. After a long struggle, she finally gives birth to a healthy boy, and everyone celebrates the moment. Elsewhere, we see Bruno dressed as a woman, running out onto the road in front of a group of Germans. The group is led by the same officer who initially tasked him with hunting the red ghost. He is repulsed by Bruno's appearance and stares at him with a disappointed look. Meanwhile, the red ghost stirs, and without a word, he begins to prepare his rifle. He moves with quiet purpose, leaving the house without hesitation. The Soviet soldiers, watching his every move, quickly deduce that the Germans are near. They ready themselves for the inevitable battle. Outside the house, Klein finally gets up and starts running away. In the next scene, a large number of German troops surround the house and begin their attack. They start shooting grenades that destroy half of the house. The battle is on, and neither side is willing to back down. Vera hides behind the stove, trembling with fear, as the others frantically cover her. Dead, overcome with emotion, turns to Kostya. Without hesitation, he steels himself, ready to provide cover, his determination burning through the chaos. As the Germans close in, like a shadow, the red ghost strikes. With lethal precision, he takes down several soldiers, one after another, leaving chaos in his wake. Suddenly, he launches a grenade toward the chief commander. The explosion engulfs the enemy in fire and shrapnel, wiping out many in its devastating blast. Politruk is severely injured during the fight. However, Moryachiok fixes him with a sharp punch, handing him some vodka to bring relief. After recovering a bit, Holotruk manages to eliminate so many enemies, one after another. But just as hope flickers, it's Bruno finally takes him down. Moments later, Moryachiok is hit by a throwable, and just like that, he's down. Kostya, he's eliminated too by Bruno, leaving no hope in his wake. And then finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. The Red Ghost and Bruno, face to face, they engage in a fierce fight, clashing with everything they have. And in the end, the Red Ghost ends Bruno, leaving behind a chilling silence. Just when the good guys seem to have won, Klein emerges from the shadows. He ends the Red Ghost from behind. Then both of them are taken out by a mysterious sniper from a distance. It turns out to be Vera and Simpleton, who have managed to survive with the baby. In the next scene, we see the same actor couple from the beginning of the movie captured by another German. They're beating him in front of a crowd. His wife is there too and watches helplessly from the sidelines. The German officer announces, anyone who has seen the Red Ghost must come forward, or the man will be eliminated. When no one responds, he grabs a child and threatens to hurt him. Seeing this, the actor finally speaks up. He describes how the Red Ghost rescued him and executed the Germans just a few days ago. He's not scared this time and begins to openly curse the Germans. The Nazi officer is enraged upon hearing this and orders his soldiers to execute him. But in the meantime, the commander and several other Germans are eliminated on the spot by a sniper from far behind. The actor and his wife also attack a few Germans with their bare hands. In the aftermath, the sniper searches the dead Germans, removes their badges, and steals any food or weapons. The actor looks at him and realizes he's a different person, but he remains silent. As the movie ends, we learn that the man is actually Kostya, who has survived and taken on the role of the Red Ghost. With this story ends here. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.